Hello everybody, thank you for watching. This is part 2 of the question and answer videos that I do every single Monday. If you haven't watched part 1, please go check it out. What I'm doing, I'm answering everyone's questions that they're asking me down in the comment section from the last question and answer video. So any questions you guys have, go down below, ask me anything you want. I'll answer them in the next question and answer video next Monday. Do this every single Monday, and all I ask from you guys is please give me your location. Tell us where you guys are from, okay? And if I miss your question, I get it wrong, I read it wrong, I don't fully answer it, you don't understand it, anything, ask me again. I don't care about repeat questions. There's new people coming on here that haven't heard some of this stuff before, and there's people that have heard this stuff over and over and over again and need to keep hearing it more and more and more. So please keep asking me, okay? Thank you very much. The next question for part 2 is from Seamus from Ireland. Hello, Seamus. Hi, David. Just wondering, when a borderline is shut down with no contact, do they feel wounded in a way, or is it mostly exaggerated on their part? A major symptom of borderline personality disorder is exaggerating everything. They love words like so much or all the time, or, you know, but realize that borderline personality disorder has a real tough time regulating emotion, okay? So their emotional reaction is way hard for them to handle, much like most of us. You know, if you suffered PTSD, CPTSD, things like this. So what they experience is intense for them, okay? So nobody likes to be, nobody likes a relationship to end at all. That's depressing. Causes anxiety. Women take emotional trauma. They react differently than men. Women will tend to be more depressive and anxiety, where men tend to withdraw. So, you know, is it normal for them, or do they feel wounded in a way? Well, yes, they do. Yes, they do. And, you know, people with personality disorder, especially borderline, they don't have a real good sense of who they are. So those are times that you need to fall back on. You know, if you have no confidence, no self-esteem, you don't know who you are, things like this, it's very damaging when people don't want anything to do with you anymore. And it's hard for anyone to deal with that. People in your life that are saying goodbye. So is it mostly exaggerated on their part? Not to them. You know, that's the problem with histrionic, borderline, narcissist, sociopath. You know, one little thing that goes wrong between the two of you, and it's just attack, man. Like you really, really hurt them. Really did them bad. That's what smear campaigns are. They can't handle anything. Nothing. So they think you did them wrong. You hurt them because they're always hurting. So any little thing you do hurts them. And they just lash out and smear campaign you, attack you, you know, keep contacting you if you don't want to be contacted, things like this. So to them, it's very, very intense. It is. Their biggest fear is fear of abandonment. Okay, that's their biggest fear. So you abandon in their mind, no matter how you did it, you abandoned them. Okay, all right. So, but you did what you have to do, Seamus, and that's no reason to go back. Okay, that relationship's over, and I hope it stays that way. Yeah. I mean, we all talk about narcissistic wounds, you know, borderlines get those too. Borderlines are on that spectrum. Borderlines are narcissistic, and they will feel wounded. Yes, for things like this. Easily wounded by many different things, but not talking to them, no contact, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, they never think they did anything wrong. It's always your fault. So not only did you abuse them the whole time, then you just discarded and abandoned them. You know? That's why we want to be careful who we open our door to and let in our lives. Because you could just be helping somebody sometime, and then you stop helping them and they ruin your life. You go out on a couple dates and you stop dating them, and they, you know, want to do something to you. So because you did something bad to them, you hurt them. But when the fact is that they're always hurting. They're always hurting. So there's nothing you can do to not hurt them, really. Hope that makes sense. Thank you. Vanessa from United Kingdom, hello. Would being submissive leave you vulnerable to narcissistic abuse? Sure. I don't think you need to be submissive in relationships, but I don't think it has to be a horrible thing as long as the other person doesn't take advantage of that, right? As long as you aren't compromising yourself, what you need, your happiness, things like this. I think a better word is agreeable. And I think agreeable can be very beneficial in a relationship. You have to at least be able to be agreeable, able to agree, you know. But submissive, some people are just submissive, some people are dominant. And if the relationship works out where both people meet their needs and they're both nice and respectful and happy to each other, I think that, you know, it could work. But I think what's important is that you always stand up for how you feel and what you think and what you need, Nessa. I think that's very important. I hope that makes sense. But I think it's good to be agreeable, right? Got to agree in relationships. Got to be able to agree. I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Okay. Is it possible for someone with BPD to have NPD traits? So you want to know if somebody that's been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder could also have narcissistic personality disorder traits. And absolutely. These two are they're very close. They're both in the cluster B, A, B, C clusters. Out of 10 personalities, you've got 4 in the cluster B together. And I'm telling you, you know, you've got narcissistic personality disorder, but you also have borderline, histrionic, and antisocial. And even antisocial are narcissists. I believe all of them are somewhere on that narcissistic spectrum. Absolutely. I think that's why they're grouped together. I think a lot of that might change soon. So they share a lot of similar traits. They both can be very bad problems, like I said earlier, regulating their emotions. Could both be very manipulative. Both have poor sense of who they are. They could both dissociate a lot. They could both, you know, you could have it gets confusing, guys, because you could have narcissists that seem very much like borderlines, or they are. I mean, they're not the so big, huge false ego, you know. They're kind of like the victim narcissist. But yeah, anyways, to not get too confusing, of course, yeah, they can share traits. All four cluster B disorders share a lot of common traits. Okay, narcissism in general is one. I think that all the disorders in that cluster B are narcissistic. I'm not saying that all borderlines are narcissists, all histrionics are narcissists. They're just somewhere on that spectrum. And doctors diagnosed comorbidly many times. I've seen people that are diagnosed with borderline and antisocial, things like this, and which is also a narcissist. Okay, so yeah, absolutely possible, and common, I think is what's important. Next question is from Shell in Chicago. Hello. David, could you please explain the false self again? I still don't get it after watching your videos on this false self. Do narcissists know that they have a true self and a false one? Well, one major problem with narcissists, people that have narcissistic personality disorders, is awareness of what's going on, awareness of how they feel, awareness of what they need, what they're doing. A lot of them are compulsive liars and start believing their own lies, stuff like this, okay? So they aren't very aware of this. Or maybe they think we're all like this, you know. We don't know, if we've never experienced something, we don't know what it is or what it's like. If they're not experiencing what true, real self is, then they may not understand that they're covering that up with a false self. So, realize that narcissists, there's a couple factors that make narcissists. And one is the parents did not have boundaries. They didn't teach that child boundaries. And that's boundaries of, you know, hey, you can't do that to me, and you can't let other people do that to you. Things like this. So with these bad boundaries, and then they don't have real true self of who they are also, when they're growing up with not much support, not very good parenting, trauma, things that happen that are bad and they don't heal from correctly. So they're not processing emotions very well. But the biggest thing that happens, okay, with any time a child experiences trauma, experiences parents fighting, divorce, anything, the child always takes it in and says, it's me, it's my fault, I'm a bad person. And if we don't have people there to help us with that, it stays that way. And what happens with a lot of people that experience that and just really can't handle how bad they really feel every day, day-to-day life, they counter it. They just lie and say, I'm great, I'm fantastic, I'm better than other people. And this is also taught. Parents will teach children stuff like this. Not literally sit there and say, you're better than everyone, but they won't make them, they won't teach them repercussions to their actions, so I can do whatever I want and I don't get in trouble for it. Or they teach them that you can't just take something from somebody. You know, they don't teach them that, so they just feel like if I want it, I get it. I need it. It's me. I'm entitled to what I want. There's all kinds of things that parents have taught narcissists to make them that way. But all of these things create shame. Okay, they create shame, and if the shame gets too much, it's a defense mechanism. You just start lying to yourself and saying, I'm great, but it's not based on anything. Children don't accomplish a whole much compared to adults in life, right? I mean, children aren't taking care of themselves. They aren't pulling themselves out of hard times. They aren't fixing big problems. They aren't successful in relationships and maybe a job and things like this, right? So a lot of narcissists aren't either, and they just start telling themselves how great I am. I'm better than you. I'm better than everybody. The world evolves around me. I hope that makes sense. Nobody wants to be a bad person. Nobody. Even people that acknowledge they're bad people, they just feel like everyone else is bad. So, the bar is down here. It's okay. I'm like everyone else. No one wants to be a bad person, so they lie. They just lie to themselves. And narcissists can be very delusional. Lie to themselves so much they actually believe it, okay? But it's not based on anything. And that's why that false ego is also fragile, easy to break, knock down. You can hurt their feelings fairly easily and they'll rage because you just put them right back into that shame. You just made them feel like that bad little child that they really know inside that they are, that they cannot face. So they don't have the emotional capacity to face who they are. To face shame takes a lot. Okay, and something we should all do, but it takes a lot, and if you don't do it, to get by, one defense mechanism is, hey, I'm better than you. Because a lot of us deal with shame. Shame makes us feel unworthy, less than equal. We're not as good as everybody else, right? And so, a lot of us will try to just be good to people and make them happy and do good things for them, and hopefully they'll treat us equally, like an equal. But then there's some people that just, no, I'm going to be better than everybody. And it doesn't work. It's false. It's fake. Ask me again if you don't understand. Thanks. To the DJ Shadow from New York, hello. Why does my ex-narcissist wife continue to send me emails using our child as the reason, always making accusations, basically trying to get a reaction? I never respond. I will if it's a legit issue with the child, like a clock. She sends a message about every 90 days. I thought when they discard you like trash, why continue to bother the victim? Well, good question. I was talking earlier about attachment. Disordered people are attached, and they don't know how to deal with the disattachment, to not be attached anymore, to unattach from somebody. They won't usually face that and go down that road, lie to themselves. No, it's not over. No, he wants me back. I'll go and try and make sure he wants me back. Do you want me back? You do still? Okay. Stay in contact like that. It's too bad that she uses the child. My advice, I wrote to you earlier, is if your agreement has been settled by the courts and there's lawyers involved, then that's what lawyers are for. So what I would tell you, well, I mean, she's sending a message every 90 days. And that's still awful. It's still stressful. That's a tough one, because I tell a lot of parents, keep the communication between emails only at least. At least it's a message. I hope you're not having to talk to her on the phone or in person. Keep telling her, if it's not about the child, I don't want to hear about it. If she contacts you in a message that is not about the child, then don't answer. Don't react. Good luck. I know that's tough. I don't have much more advice than that. If this is really bothering you, get a lawyer and get an agreement legally binded. Okay? Thanks. Shaw from Chicago again. Hello. David, could you do a video on EMDR? A friend said it had done him much good in his recovery. What is EMDR? I think I've done a video, not specifically on it, but it was a lot about these supplemental therapies. And that's what this is. It's a supplemental therapy. And they're desensitizing your trauma, and you're reprocessing your brain by using different eye movements. So EMDR, eye movement, desensitization, reprocessing. That's what it is. And things like this can be beneficial for sure. And I've heard good things. Know that it's a supplemental therapy. Don't just do that. Have your conventional talk therapy alongside, and it's beautiful. I think what's really important, guys, when you do stuff like this is you're telling your brain, I'm worth it and I deserve it and and you're giving yourself something you need, and you're spending time on yourself. And that's really beneficial for us right now, especially when we have feelings of unworthiness and shame and stuff like this. Someone treated us so bad for so long. Start treating yourself good. And along with things like this, I tell women to take care, of yourself, and makeup and hair and shave and dress up, and men, go get a nice shirt, nice outfit, keep yourself shaved and get haircuts and keep your nails trimmed. And it's just telling us ourselves that we're worth it. Okay. It really, really is good for us. Thanks for the question. And if you end up doing it and it works out for you, I would love to know how it benefited you. Okay. Thank you. And that is it for part 2. That's all for all the Q&As, actually. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you for all your questions. As always, I know there's a lot of suffering, a lot of pain. So ask questions, find the truth, learn the information, find out why you did this, see the whole picture of your life. Okay, get support. Don't do this alone. It can be very damaging. And love yourself first, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.